Imagine waking up with a mind so focused that distractions cannot touch you, moving with purpose, speaking with clarity, acting with intention, a level of calm and control that feels rare today but was a daily reality for Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher whose personal reflections reveal the core of a discipline most men only dream of, because Stoicism is not just theory. It is a practice forged in the heat of adversity and refined through quiet reflection, and in this video you will learn 10 Stoic principles that can shape your life from the inside out, not in vague or abstract terms but through actionable wisdom that teaches you how to handle pressure, stay grounded, and build unshakable character. So if you are tired of being ruled by impulse or overwhelmed by distractions, if you crave inner strength and mental clarity, then what you are about to hear will speak directly to your soul. But this is not for everyone, only a few stay till the end, only the ones who are ready to change. If that is you, then I ask just one small favor: subscribe to this channel so we can reach more people who need this message, and do not skip ahead, because every principle builds upon the last, and the discipline you seek is hidden in what you are about to discover. Now let us begin. Principle number 1. Find and align with your purpose is the foundation of all Stoic discipline, and it begins not with a loud declaration to the world, but with a quiet revelation within yourself. When you wake up each day, do you know what you're really striving for? Are you pulled by purpose, or pushed around by the chaos around you? Marcus Aurelius believed that a man with no clear aim in life is like a ship lost at sea. The Stoics taught that to truly gain mastery over yourself, your time, and your impulses, you must first know what you're aiming at. This is not just about setting goals or chasing achievements. It's about identifying the values and responsibilities that are uniquely yours. It's about waking up with a mission, and letting that mission guide your every action, every choice, every word. For Marcus, this was the Roman duty to rule with justice, clarity, and virtue. But he knew that no external crown or empire could give him peace if his inner life was adrift. Your purpose may not be imperial, but it must be intentional. You find it in what you love, in what calls you forward, and in what you feel responsible for when no one else is watching. The Stoics asked, "What role has nature assigned to you?" And once you have even a hint of that answer, you stop wasting your energy on distractions. You stop chasing validation or comparing your path with others. Your decisions become simpler, your focus sharper. Purpose acts as a compass, pointing you back to center every time life tries to throw you off course. The world today bombards you with 1,000 voices, social media, advertisements, critics, doubts. But your purpose silences them all. It tells you what is worth suffering for, what is worth staying up late for, what is worth enduring pain and hardship for. Without purpose, discipline becomes a burden. But with it, discipline becomes a calling. Even when you're tired, even when you're discouraged, even when no one is watching. So take a moment each day to reconnect with what matters most to you. What legacy do you want to leave? What problems are you meant to solve? What higher standard are you willing to live up to? This reflection is not self-indulgent, it's sacred. Because when your life aligns with your purpose, discipline is no longer something you force. It becomes something you crave. You don't need external motivation to stay on track. Your purpose becomes your internal fire, burning steady, even when the winds of life try to blow you off course. In the eyes of the Stoics, that is the beginning of true self-mastery. Principle number 2. Count on yourself first, because the world owes you nothing and life doesn't pause for your excuses. Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor burdened with the weight of an entire empire, never once blamed others for his failures. He turned inward. He reminded himself every day that while fortune may falter, while people may disappoint, and while circumstances may collapse, the one thing he could always rely on was himself. The Stoics weren't against help or companionship, but they knew that leaning too heavily on others for discipline, motivation, or peace was a dangerous trap. You must be your own anchor. You must be the voice in your head that says, "Keep going," when no one else does. The discipline you seek isn't something the world hands you. It's something you forge in silence, in solitude, and in struggle. Counting on yourself means showing up even when you're uninspired. It means doing the right thing even when no one applauds. It means facing your responsibilities without needing someone to hold your hand. In a time like today, where it's easy to seek shortcuts or constant validation, Stoicism reminds you that your strength lies in your independence. Every time you depend on external praise or permission to act, you surrender a part of your soul. Marcus knew this. He knew that a man who builds his house on another's foundation is always one storm away from ruin. When you count on yourself, you begin to respect your own time, your own energy, and your own values. You stop outsourcing your discipline to mood swings or motivation. You start living from principle. Self-reliance is the birthplace of self-discipline. It's the moment you stop waiting for perfect conditions and start creating them. It's the quiet decision to be your own guide, your own judge, your own coach. The world may offer help, and you may accept it with humility. But your commitment cannot depend on it. Because there will be mornings when the world is silent. There will be nights when no one believes in you. And in those moments, all that stands between you and regret is your ability to rely on your own inner voice. The one that doesn't whine. The one that doesn't flinch. The one that says, "This is my life, and I will not waste it." This is the voice Marcus Aurelius listened to when all else around him faded. This is the voice you must cultivate. A voice born not from pride, but from quiet resilience. From years of showing up. From the discipline of building trust in yourself, one choice at a time. Because when you count on yourself first, you never come up empty. Principle number 3. Show up every single day. Marcus Aurelius consistently emphasized the power of persistence, of showing up not just in body but in spirit every single day. This practice is not about monumental efforts unleashed sporadically, but about the quiet, steady dedication to daily tasks which collectively forge a disciplined life. For Aurelius, showing up every day was synonymous with the Stoic idea of living in accordance with nature. To him, nature demanded of us not just to exist but to actively participate in life, to contribute to the world through our actions, no matter how small or routine they might seem. Each day presented itself as a new arena, not for grand battles, but for proving one's commitment to their principles and duties. It is in the consistency, the everyday effort, where character is built and tested. In today's world, where distractions are many and motivations can be fleeting, the idea of showing up every day gains even more significance. It is easy to feel inspired one day and completely off track the next. Here, Stoicism teaches us the value of consistency. It is not the intensity, but the regularity of our actions that cultivates true discipline. This does not mean that every day needs to be a masterpiece of productivity. Rather, it is about not letting a day slip by unnoticed or unutilized. Whether it is advancing in your career, improving your health, or deepening your relationships, progress in any area requires the simple, often overlooked commitment to show up every day. Moreover, showing up every day is deeply intertwined with the Stoic practice of mindfulness. Being present in the now and doing today's work today, without the burdens of yesterday's failures or tomorrow's worries, is a cornerstone of Stoic living. Marcus Aurelius wrote extensively about focusing on the present, about doing the task at hand to the best of one's ability. This focus is what turns routine into ritual and effort into improvement. To cultivate this discipline, start small. Decide what showing up means for you. It could be as simple as writing a single paragraph of that book you've been meaning to write, doing a 5-minute workout, or spending 10 uninterrupted minutes with a loved one. The scale is not what transforms us. It is the act of showing up itself. Each day that you meet your commitment, you reinforce your willpower and build the resilience that defines Stoic philosophy. By adopting this daily practice, you embody the Stoic belief in personal responsibility and continuous self-improvement. You become a living testament to the idea that while we may not control the outcomes, we can control our efforts. In the consistent act of showing up, we find the discipline necessary to lead a purposeful and fulfilling life. Principle number 4. Practice voluntary discomfort. This Stoic practice, strongly advocated by Marcus Aurelius, is about much more than just making life intentionally difficult. It is about preparing yourself for the unpredictabilities of life, strengthening your resilience, and deepening appreciation for what you already have. Marcus Aurelius, like many Stoics, believed that experiencing discomfort voluntarily helps fortify the mind against times when life might force discomfort upon you. This could mean choosing to forego certain luxuries, enduring physical challenges, or simply practicing self-denial in small everyday decisions. The logic is simple. If you are accustomed to hardship, sudden adversities will not throw you off balance. You are training your resilience muscles, so to speak, ensuring you can face life's challenges with a calm and composed mind. But why embrace discomfort in a world that constantly strives to offer us comfort? The answer lies in the very fabric of Stoic philosophy. Growth often happens at the edges of your comfort zone. By voluntarily stepping into less comfortable spaces, you not only test your mental and emotional boundaries, but you also expand them. This practice is not about punishing yourself but about shifting your perspective, from seeing comfort as a necessity to viewing it as a luxury that you can live without. In practicing voluntary hardship, you also cultivate gratitude. It is easy to take daily comforts for granted, but when you occasionally live without them, you begin to appreciate them more deeply. This could be as simple as skipping a meal, which heightens your appreciation for the food you do have, or opting to walk instead of drive, which makes you more grateful for mobility and health. Moreover, voluntary hardship connects you to the reality that many people endure discomfort involuntarily every day. This connection can foster empathy, humility, and a deeper understanding of the human condition, anchoring you more firmly in the world we share with others. So how can you integrate this practice into your life? Start small. Choose something manageable. Wake up an hour earlier than usual, limit your use of technology for a day, or take the stairs instead of the elevator. The key is not in the scale of the hardship, but in the regularity and intention behind it. Each act of voluntary discomfort is a step towards greater mental fortitude and self-discipline. It helps you build a mind that is less reactive to change and more grounded in purpose. Over time, this becomes not just a habit, but a way of life. You learn to trust in your strength, not because life is easy, but because you have trained yourself to face it regardless. That is the Stoic way. Principle number 5. Focus only on what is within your control. This Stoic concept may appear simple on the surface, but it has the power to radically transform how you live your life. Marcus Aurelius believed that the root of much human suffering comes from trying to control what is inherently outside our reach. According to Stoicism, what lies within your control are your thoughts, your judgments, your actions, and your decisions. Everything else, including the behavior of others, the weather, the economy, and even the outcome of your own efforts, lies beyond it. Marcus wrote repeatedly in his meditations that serenity and strength come not from dominating the world, but from mastering yourself. When you truly understand this, you stop wasting energy on things you cannot change. You stop chasing validation, stop fearing the future, and stop being shaken by circumstances. You begin to find peace not in the world behaving as you want it to, but in your own steady response to whatever the world throws at you. This mindset does not promote passivity. On the contrary, it empowers you to act more effectively by directing your energy only toward what is actionable. It allows you to move with clarity and purpose instead of anxiety and confusion. In daily life, this means letting go of obsessing over the opinions of others. It means accepting that your effort matters more than the result. It means understanding that while you may not be able to control whether someone appreciates your kindness, you can always choose to act with compassion. This principle is especially powerful in moments of chaos or uncertainty. When the world feels unstable, the Stoic mind retreats not in fear but in focus. It asks, what can I do in this moment? What thoughts can I choose? What virtue can I express? This is how you reclaim your power. You may not be able to stop the storm, but you can become the eye within it. One of the most liberating truths Stoicism offers is that your peace does not have to be tied to things going your way. Your discipline, your resilience, your contentment can all grow independent of the world's noise. By practicing this principle, you slowly build an inner fortress. A place where your character cannot be easily shaken by circumstance. Each time you consciously redirect your attention to what you control, you plant another brick in that fortress. And over time, you begin to realize that the world does not need to change for you to remain unshaken. You simply need to remain aligned with your own values. In doing so, you discover a deeper kind of discipline, one that is not reactive but rooted. One that allows you to lead yourself no matter what comes. Principle number 6. Never play the victim. This core Stoic principle is not about denying pain or pretending everything is fine. It is about refusing to let suffering define who you are. Marcus Aurelius faced betrayal, war, disease, and loss, but he never saw himself as a victim. He wrote that what stands in the way becomes the way. He chose to view adversity not as a trap but as a test, not as punishment but as purpose. When you adopt this mindset, you reclaim your power from whatever or whoever tried to take it. You begin to realize that even if someone wrongs you, your response is your own. Even if life hits hard, how you get up is what counts. Stoicism teaches that nothing can make you feel inferior without your consent. You are not at the mercy of the world unless you believe you are. Playing the victim is tempting because it absolves responsibility. It tells you that you are not the problem, that life is unfair, that others need to change. But that belief chain locks your freedom. It keeps you waiting for something outside of you to improve before you allow yourself to grow. True strength begins the moment you say, "This happened, but it does not own me. This moment hurts, but I still choose how to carry it." When you stop playing the victim, you stop giving your energy to blame, bitterness, or regret. You stop arguing with reality. You accept what happened, but you rise anyway. You transform suffering into strategy. You use it to shape a stronger character. Aurelius taught that character is fate. And if that is true, then every moment is an opportunity to shape your fate with courage. This principle becomes a daily practice. It's not just a choice once. It is the choice every time you feel tempted to give up or complain. It is the choice to be calm when others are loud, to be grounded when others are shaking, to rise above when others try to drag you down. When someone hurts you, the Stoic mind does not ask why me. It asks, what virtue does this call forth in me? Patience? Forgiveness? Strength? By asking that, you stop focusing on what was taken and start focusing on what can be built. You become your own compass. You stop chasing validation. You begin living by values. And most of all, you walk through life not as someone who things happen to, but as someone who chooses how to meet them. That mindset changes everything. It makes you harder to break, impossible to manipulate, and deeply respected by those who recognize real resilience. Marcus Aurelius wrote for himself, but his reflections were meant for anyone who sought to live with integrity. His life was not easy, but he never let it make him bitter. That is the essence of Stoicism. You do not ask the world to go easy on you. You ask yourself to grow stronger. And you rise again and again, not because it is easy, but because it is who you choose to be. Principle number 7. Delay gratification. In a world obsessed with instant results and fast pleasures, delaying gratification feels like a lost art. But to Marcus Aurelius and the Stoics, it was a foundational discipline. They believed that mastering yourself begins with mastering your desires. When you learn to wait, when you choose restraint over impulse, you forge a deeper kind of power. Not the kind that shouts or flexes, but the quiet, unshakable kind that builds empires within the mind. Aurelius often wrote about not being a slave to sensations, about not letting pleasure or pain steer the ship of your life. That is what delayed gratification really is. It is freedom. The freedom to say, I want this, but I want something more. It is strength, the strength to endure the tension between who you are and who you are becoming. When you delay gratification, you stop chasing fleeting highs and start building lasting greatness. You train your mind to see the bigger picture. You choose purpose over pleasure, vision over impulse. You begin to live not for the next moment, but for the next chapter. And that changes how you eat, how you spend, how you work, and how you love. It teaches you to pause before reacting, to think before spending, to rest before quitting. This is not about denying joy. It is about choosing joy that lasts over joy that fades. It is about building a life that satisfies not just your senses but your soul. The Stoics knew that pleasures taken too soon often cost more than they give. They knew that instant pleasure is often followed by long-term regret. But the pleasures that are earned slowly, with discipline and patience, are the ones that nourish us deeply. In your own life, this might mean saying no to the easy path in order to walk the right one. It might mean resisting distractions so you can finish what you started. It might mean waiting for the right relationship instead of rushing into the wrong one. Each time you delay gratification, you prove to yourself that you are in control. Not your cravings. Not your fears. Not your fatigue. You. And that proof adds up. It builds a life of clarity and confidence. Delaying gratification also deepens your gratitude. When you finally taste what you waited for, you taste it more fully. It becomes sacred, not ordinary. And in that moment, you are reminded that you earned this. That you grew for this. That you waited with wisdom. Marcus Aurelius did not just preach this. He lived it. As a ruler, he chose duty over luxury. As a man, he chose virtue over vice. And that is what made him great. Not power, not fame, but the discipline to want less and become more. In the end, delayed gratification is not a punishment. It is a gift. A gift of self-respect. A gift of future joy. A gift of becoming someone you are truly proud of. So when the world tells you to rush, to indulge, to take shortcuts, remember the Stoic path. Slow down. Wait. Trust the process. Choose the long road, and walk it with honor. Principle number 8. Ignore the noise of naysayers. In a world where everyone's opinion is just a comment away, learning to ignore the noise of naysayers becomes not just a skill, but a survival trait for your soul. Marcus Aurelius knew this better than anyone. As a Roman emperor, he was surrounded by flatterers, critics, and cynics, but he chose silence over reaction, focus over distraction, and wisdom over approval. He wrote to himself, not to the crowd. He lived for virtue, not validation. That is the essence of this principle. Ignore those who do not understand your mission, because your purpose was never a group project. The Stoics taught that the opinions of others lie outside our control, and therefore have no power over us unless we give it to them. They believed that the truth of your character, the clarity of your intent, and the strength of your spirit should never be held hostage by public approval. Let others gossip. Let others doubt. Let others judge from the sidelines while you build in silence. That is what makes the Stoic unshakable. You stop reacting to noise and start responding to your calling. You learn to separate real feedback from baseless criticism, and in that separation, you reclaim your peace. Naysayers are everywhere. Sometimes, they speak in your family, in your friendships, even in your own head. But Stoicism teaches you that you do not owe them a rebuttal. You owe yourself results. You do not owe them explanation. You owe yourself execution. Your journey is sacred. And sacred things must be protected from small minds. If Marcus Aurelius had listened to the critics, he would not have ruled with grace. He would not have penned the Meditations, which have guided warriors and philosophers for 2,000 years. He would have been just another man living for applause. But he wasn't. He lived for the higher self. And so must you. Ignoring naysayers is not arrogance. It is clarity. It is not stubbornness. It is spiritual discipline. When you center your identity in virtue instead of approval, the insults no longer cut deep. The doubts no longer shape your direction. You become immune to praise and poison alike. This emotional immunity is power. It gives you the calm to keep going when no one claps. It gives you the vision to keep building when no one understands. And it gives you the strength to live a life that does not just echo the crowd, but elevates the world. So the next time someone mocks your dreams or questions your path, do not argue. Smile inwardly. Thank them for revealing their limits. And walk on. Because your path was not built for comfort. It was built for transformation. Ignore the noise. Embrace the silence. Let your life be the proof. Principle number 9. Emulate the wise to elevate your soul. One of the most overlooked yet life-altering Stoic principles is the quiet power of emulation. Marcus Aurelius did not see himself as perfect. He saw himself as a student, a servant of virtue, and he constantly wrote about the people he admired, the virtues he saw in them, and the ways he could become more like them. In his meditations, he dedicated entire sections to the memory of men who embodied patience, courage, justice, and discipline. He studied their lives not to idolize them, but to internalize their greatness. This is the soul of Stoic emulation. You choose your mentors with intention. Not by fame or popularity, but by character and consistency. You seek those who radiate calm under pressure, who act with wisdom when others react with fear, who do what is right when it is hardest to do. You find these examples in history, in books, in your own life. Maybe it is a grandparent who survived war with grace, a teacher who carried integrity into every lesson, or a leader who put principles above applause. Whoever they are, let their actions speak louder than their words. Let their lives become a blueprint for your own. The Stoics believed wisdom was not inherited, it was cultivated. And the fastest way to cultivate it was by observing it in action. Marcus did not just read philosophy, he watched it. He studied the calm gaze of his adopted father Antoninus Pius, who governed Rome with quiet strength and tireless fairness. He absorbed the discipline of Rusticus, the patience of Sextus, the humility of Maximus. Each man became a mirror, reflecting back to Marcus who he was and who he could become. That is what you must do. Choose your mirrors carefully. In an age obsessed with celebrity and noise, seek out the quiet giants. The ones who walk the talk when no one is watching. Watch how they handle failure. Watch how they respond to insult. Watch how they treat those who cannot offer them anything in return. Then ask yourself daily, am I living up to their example? Stoicism does not ask you to imitate anyone blindly. It asks you to extract the virtue, refine it in the fire of your own life, and make it your own. Through this process, you rise, not in comparison to others, but in comparison to your past self. You ascend by inching closer to the ideal within you, guided by those who have already walked the path. And when you start living this way, something beautiful happens. You begin to inspire others, too. Just as you were once shaped by the strength of another, your life begins to shape those who come after you. Your discipline becomes contagious. Your calm becomes their lesson. Your example becomes someone else's compass. That is the legacy Marcus left. And that is the legacy you are capable of building, not by pretending to be wise, but by walking beside the wise, learning, listening, rising with every step. Principle number 10. Reflect daily to realign with your highest self. One of the most transformative Stoic disciplines is the quiet practice of self-reflection. Not once a year, not once a month, but every single day. Marcus Aurelius didn't write his meditations for anyone else. He wrote them for himself. A private dialogue between the emperor and the man, the leader and the learner, the philosopher and the human being struggling with emotions, ego, and distraction just like you. That's why his words feel so personal. Because they were. And at the center of his practice was a daily reckoning. Not a list of victories. Not a highlight reel. But an honest account of his actions, his impulses, and where he had fallen short of virtue. That's what Stoic reflection is. It is not self-punishment. It is self-honesty. It is not about guilt. It is about growth. It is the decision to sit with yourself, without noise, and ask the questions that matter. Did I live by my values today? Where did I let my emotions control me? Where did I speak when I should have listened? Where did I rush when I should have paused? Where did I blame others when I should have looked inward? This is not easy. It takes courage to face your own contradictions, to witness the gap between who you are and who you want to be. But the Stoics believe that without this mirror, you will never truly change. Because discipline without awareness becomes mindless. Effort without reflection becomes directionless. You may be moving, but not growing. You may be achieving, but not evolving. Daily reflection reclaims your agency. It reminds you that every day is a new opportunity to course correct, to align yourself more deeply with the person you are becoming. You don't need a journal, though Marcus used one. You don't need a ritual, though that helps. What you need is time. Just 10 minutes of silence. A walk in solitude. A few honest thoughts before sleep. Time where the world does not speak, and only you do. That's when the truth comes out. That's when your deeper self, the one buried under distraction and duty, finally rises to speak. And if you listen carefully, you will hear wisdom. Your own. The part of you that already knows what must be done. The part that is not swayed by fear or ego or noise. The part that wants to live with honor. Reflection is where you meet that part of yourself. Where you train it. Where you strengthen it. Day by day. Until its voice becomes louder than the rest. Until your life begins to flow from the inside out, not the outside in. Marcus Aurelius once asked himself, "What is it to be happy?" And his answer was simple. It is to live in accordance with nature. To the Stoics, your nature is not your impulse. It is your potential. It is the wisest, strongest, calmest version of yourself. And every day, you have the chance to return to it. That is what daily reflection is for. Not perfection, but progress. Not shame, but clarity. It is how you turn your life into a living philosophy. Not once, not someday, but now, today, and every day after. Thank you for walking with me through these 10 Stoic principles that can shape a life of discipline, purpose, and inner strength. If something in this message stirred your heart or reminded you of the strength you still hold within, then I ask you to do one small favor. Hit the subscribe button. It costs you nothing, but it helps this message reach someone else who needs it. Drop a comment below and tell me which principle hit home for you. Maybe it was the call to reflect, the courage to delay gratification, or the reminder to never play the victim. Whatever it was, share it. Let this space become more than a channel. Let it be a community of thinkers, warriors, and seekers of truth. And if you are ready to keep going, ready to become even stronger, even calmer, even more disciplined, then explore the next Stoic Legacy video waiting for you. Every step forward counts. Every moment of growth adds up. Stay with it. Stay grounded. Stay relentless. And as always, stay stoic and build your Stoic legacy.